So Scribe is on a farm that was originally one of the first wineries in California. It was planted in the 1850s. It was a German family, the Drazels, and they were growing a lot of German varietals. Nobody had made wine here since Prohibition, and in 2007 we replanted the Sylvaner, Riesling, Pinot Noir, and added Chardonnay.
So the vineyards sit on the slope of Arrowhead Mountain, which is the most southern point of the Mayacamas Range, which separates Napa and Sonoma counties. Arrowhead Mountain is a volcanic hillside facing southwest, overlooking the San Francisco Bay and the Petaluma Gap.
So the soil is mostly volcanic ash over Huichica Loam and marled rock. The hillside has great drainage, and as you move lower down onto the valley floor, the volcanic ash deposits get deeper and deeper.
All the wines have this clean, focused, sharp agility to them, and I think a lot of that is due to that volcanic minerality in the soil, as well as that salty breeze that comes through the Petaluma Gap every evening.
A lot of what we do in our viticultural practices is to slow down the ripening curve to push harvest as late into the season as possible to develop deeper, more complex flavors while maintaining a kind of lower balance of sugar levels.
We practice no-till farming to keep the soils cooler through the growing season and practice minimal canopy management to not expose the fruit too much to the hot afternoon sun.
There's a lot of different aspects that we have the vineyard planted on. The steeper, higher vineyards have more sun exposure and lend themselves to deeper, bolder wines with texture. And the cooler, lower valley floor lends itself to wines that are higher toned.
You know, the wines always have a kind of a power and focus to them thanks to the volcanic ash, so it's really trying to find that balance of maturity in the fruit while retaining that natural acidity.
The harvest date is extremely important to us. Harvesting fruit that's in balance allows us to then take a minimal approach in the rest of the winemaking process.
Earlier on in our existence, we were harvesting super early to try to capture all that brightness, but as we learned over the years, if we could kind of push the vineyard to mature later and later, you can harvest fruit at the same levels of acidity with a lot more maturity in the fruit, leading to a lot more complex wines.
The goal in the cellar is to preserve all the dynamic character from the vineyard, so we do minimal intervention through the fermentation and aging process to help capture all that character. All of our wines go through a native yeast fermentation. The white wines ferment cold at 50 degrees Fahrenheit to help preserve the delicate aromatics. The white wines are then aged in concrete and stainless steel tanks and never aged in oak barrel.
The red wines will age in neutral barrel for 6 to 12 months, but really in the cellar the goal is to preserve that fruit that we taste on the harvest morning, so really simple vinifications.
We do minimal rackings to retain as much undissolved CO2 as possible. This enables us to use minimal to no sulfur and bottle the red wines unvined and unfiltered.
Experimentation in the cellar and in the vineyard as well has always been a big part of our winemaking. From, planting Sylvaner to skin ferment Chardonnays or our pet nats. A lot of these wines have started as little experiments on the side and have slowly made their way into our program.
Overall, the wines have a freshness and vitality to them. There's a saltiness from the marine influence and great texture from the volcanic soils.
The wine coming off this property for over 170 years. There is a distinct flavor profile from the site. A lot of freshness, natural acidity, a lot of texture and focus, really spry, lively, energetic wines. Ultimately the wines taste like this place, and that's our goal, is to make wines that reflect this unique terroir and connect people to this distinct little corner of California.